Welcome back to episode 5 of the Pipeline Talk podcast. We are joined once again talking about some Vols, some draft coverage, guys that could go to the draft, guys that hopefully will make it to Knoxville. Lots of names, a big list, but that's good, right? That means we're getting draftable talent, we're getting good players to campus, guys that have a chance to go make millions of dollars playing baseball. So that's good for the program. We're going to start here with some guys that I think helped our team, didn't help our team, but overall just sharing our grades for the season, giving a little rewind, a little recap of the season. So, Paul, if you want to take it away, start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I'll kick it off with the guys that we're saying bye to after this year. Guys heading to the get draft, guys graduating. Hunter Rensley, a couple of years in the Vols uniform, he's done. A lot of guys like Liam Doyle, he'll be drafted. Gavin Keelan, Andrew Fisher, Marcus Phillips, probably AJ Russell. I don't think there's a chance he really comes back. I know it's been kind of a weird year with his injury, but he's probably gone. A lot of juniors that you might not expect to get. Like if you kind of loosely follow the Vols, like guys like Cannon Peebles, you wouldn't think like that's an MLB draft pick, but you'd be surprised. He might be end up in a like the late like 5 to 10 range, and it's risky to come back to school because as a senior you kind of lose all your leverage. So guys like Cannon Peebles, Dalton Bargo, Reese Chapman, don't expect to see them back. Nate Snead, Tanner Franklin. Dean Curley. I mean, there's a lot of guys the Vols are losing. But you know what? That's how it was last year. They win it
Hmm.
all. The whole team gets drafted. We say, well, shit, what now? They
Bring
brought
in
in
some
talent.
more.
They brought in talent, and yeah, whole team's going to get drafted again. They're going to get drafted next year, and they'll probably be good again next year. That's just what they do. And I really like the freshman class they had this year. A lot of guys that are going to be playing next year. We'll get to that later in our projected lineup for 2026, but a lot of talent. Phil, what can you just tell us about how you thought the 2025 season went for the Vols?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, starting off the preseason rankings, just like king of the world. Really, a lot of hype going into this season, especially with, like you said, these transfers that we got. I mean, they were great. I mean, the team was great. Don't get me wrong. The team was absolutely beautiful. So much fun to watch. But, just a little inconsistent, which was really just like the biggest weakness. The pitching, it seemed like Liam Doyle was the only one who could go out there every weekend and really get the job done. Um, at least for like the first half of the season, first section of SEC play. But I think the team like really showed some grit down the line to be able to get themselves a regional, make it to the super regionals, and I think that showed a lot of heart and gave some of these guys some good capital for the draft. But I mean, like I said, just like the consistency, I think honestly, in my opinion, the just the season series against Arkansas kind of summed up the entire like season. I just think that that was like honestly our best test the entire season. I mean, game one earlier during that first season in Arkansas, we win 10-7. Both teams have 15 hits. Game two, we out hit them 14-13, lose by 2 runs. Game three again, pretty close game. We out hit them 9-7, lose 4-8. And so like that those first 3 games there just kind of showed like the pitching, I guess, wasn't there as far as like getting the elite hitters out, but it was certainly serviceable for the offense that we had. It was just a matter of could we drive in those runners? I mean, like I said, 9 hits, 14 hits, 15 hits in those 3 games in the first series. So we're getting on base. We're hitting the ball. It was just a matter of driving the run. So I think that was the real like thorn in the side for the season was driving in those runs with all those hits we were getting. We just weren't able to get as many runs as I think we should have throughout the season.
And I think you hit the nail right on the head there. We didn't have enough of elite leverage arms, I think, out of the bullpen. A lot of your best stuff was from Marcus Phillips and Liam Doyle starting the game. And then Nate Snead, obviously throwing 100 was great. You had a couple of interesting junior college arms that I think they were really excited about at the start of the year, had their roles kind of defined early on and weren't really getting into a lot of those SEC games. But Nate Snead, they had very high expectations. He was fine. I think there were certain games where he was a lot better, and then there were some blowups. I think the blowups outweighed the times where he was good, which maybe will hurt his draft stock, maybe won't. I think he kind of sits in that round four-ish range anyway. But in terms of the pitching, I think you nailed it. We were short a few elite arms in the pen. I hope they're addressing that. I think maybe they have a couple of these freshmen in mind. If they can make it to campus, then there's your elite talent arms right there. Tegan Coons takes a big step. Again, we'll get into that kind of with the projected lineup and rotation, all that good stuff later. But the bats wise, it just seemed like there were some games where it was just Fisher and Keelan, just Fisher and Keelan, and you had Curley hit in some spots. Ensley, obviously, overall on paper was really good, and I think he hit in some spots too. But it seemed that there was a few hitters more towards the probably bottom of the order that were all kind of cold at the same time or all hot at the same time, and it there needed to be more consistency. And I think that you said that perfectly.
Yeah, I think you've both summed it up pretty well. I think the two biggest things for me was one, it just never felt like they got a real, like a Sunday starter. Like it never feels like they figured that out. AJ Russell was coming back. So you kind of like all year, like you were kind of like, well, that'll be AJ Russell. In March, that'll be AJ Russell. In April, that'll be AJ Russell. And it kind of like, it just never got to that point where it could be him. And they just experimented a lot. Arvid Sid got a lot of innings. A lot of Dylan Loy got a lot of innings. Just they couldn't find like there was no Xander Seacrest like there was on the championship team. Just someone who was just going to go out there and do his job on Sunday. They just couldn't really find that, and that's why they started dropping a lot of series toward the end of the year. They win a game with Liam Doyle, and then Marcus Phillips gets hammered, and then they lose the third game because they have no pitching. Or Doyle gets hammered, and then Phillips shoves, and they lose the matchup game, rubber match. It was a lot of that. And it was a lot of, second half of the year. I mean, we all know how it's, I mean, start the season 20-0. They look unstoppable. Gavin Keelan is hitting like 400. Dean Curley looks great, first rounder, that kind of stuff. And then to end the year, what did they drop? Five of their last six SEC weekends or so. Gavin Keelan was just kind of average to end the year. Dean Curley was a nightmare defensively and wasn't even hitting that well. Curley's a really weird. We almost might see Dean Curley back on campus.
I was
And
about to say,
maybe not. I mean, maybe I'm just overestimating how bad it was. But he's a or not a a sophomore, draft eligible sophomore. So he's got a little more leverage than most. He could come back for a junior year and still have leverage in the draft the next year. He was about a league average hitter, SEC wise. I mean, you could definitely like big guy, strong. You could see a team would probably take a chance on him. But it feels like his stock is not where you thought it would have been. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was back half of the year, not great. It really like by like the Arkansas Super Regional, it literally just felt like Andrew Fisher. It was just Andrew Fisher and a bunch of scallywags just trying to score runs. And Doyle, even Doyle by the end of the year, that Doyle's my guy. That's my guy. But even he was in both Arkansas starts wasn't great against Texas in the SEC tournament, not awesome. It's just they kind of fell apart by the end and a lot of bad fundamentals. They were not great defensively, just kind of sloppy. I mean, they were I think they were just as talented as that Arkansas team, but they just weren't all there, I guess. But yeah.
draft picks wise, they're going to be as talented as anyone else. I
Mhm.
mean, we talked about so many names, even commits that we're going to have. There's going to be a lot of he's committed to Tennessee and he's going in the draft this time. I mean, talk about our mock draft, even our last episode, just lots of orange there. If you guys are okay with it, let's just tie a bow on this and give it a season grade. If you had to encompass everything we just talked about, all that together, up to down. Started sweeping Florida, and I was buzzing. We just swept Florida. They were a top 10 team. Starting there, losing to Arkansas in the Super Regional from one point to the other. What do you guys got?
Paul, I'll let you run away with it first. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say about the draft, there's probably more pedigree this year than last year, which is crazy
Yep.
to think about. But yeah, overall, it might come as a surprise because I was just talking kind of bad, but I'm going to give it a B plus. I'm going to give this season a B plus. I mean, if you look at the recent history of national champions and the season following, it's pretty dog shit. We're the first one in I think 5 years or so to get back just at a super regional, not even Omaha. I
Yeah.
mean, like LSU, I think they were bounced in the first round last season after their natty. A couple teams missed the playoffs entirely, I'm pretty sure. It was just it's rough. So honestly, they made it pretty far. They didn't do bad. Yeah, and draft guy, I mean, it's never about one guy. It's never about, Liam Doyle going top 10 doesn't make the program, but it is pretty good for their recruiting, for their portal. Like the more success stories like that, you can already see it. There's already more guys coming because of guys like Gilbert and Beck a couple years ago to Dolander. Like it all kind of snowballs. And so just to keep adding on that success, guys like Keelan and Fisher that are going top 2 rounds, Doyle probably top 15, Sneed and Franklin will be top 5 rounds or so, but I
Yeah.
mean, the stuff's there. Like, I think that's important. And they started so great. I mean, it's hard. Like, the start's kind of dampened when you look at as a whole, the results, and that's understandable. But I think overall, I'm going to give it a B plus. I think if they'd made Omaha, even if they got bounced first round of Omaha, it would have been an A for me. But I think B plus is fair.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in your range. I'm a little bit more, a little bit less in, I don't want to say less impressed, but I'm a little bit lower than you are.
Mhm.
I think I was thinking more like B minus range. I think just like there was like the end of this, I can't say I'm disappointed with how far they've gotten because, like you said, one of the one of the best seasons following a national championship in the last 5 or so years. Um, but I mean, the makeup was there. You could tell the makeup was there to make a run in Omaha just because of the teams that we beat and the way that we played certain games, like we were talking about the whole time. It's just a matter of consistency. And if the team was consistent, not even, they didn't even have to be like top echelon the entire time, but if they were just like consistent the entire season, I think they easily host a regional,
Mhm.
probably host a super regional, and make a run, win a few games in Omaha for sure. Whether they win it again, I don't know, but I, I'm not down on myself for the season, but I do believe that just some overall consistency and just like mental and physical cleanliness as far as like pitching and fielding and just like taking quality at bats in big spots. I think the result could have been better. So for that reason, I'm just a little bit lower on the grading scale.
Fair. And
Yeah.
if we did have to like sum it up in a word, frustrating is going to be one of the top words. Like
Yeah,
it definitely like you look at this team and the talent and like it's hard like like it like took them being as bad as they did to not host a super regional. Like they just like and they barely hosted a Knoxville's just a regional, which
mhm,
is
Yeah.
sad. But like you could just like losing 5 of the last 6 SEC series, a lot of them in the rubber matches. Like it was
mhm.
right there to just be like a top 8 seed to host a super regional to not get matched up with Arkansas in this like it was
Yeah.
right there and they kind of just let it slip. And especially after a historic start to the season, frustrating is the word, definitely.
Well, and then my grade, I'll make it quick. Y'all touched on it quite a lot, but good for the pod. Did promise to not plan this. I'm right in the middle of you guys. Gave it a clear B. Kind of broke it down into 4 categories, but had the pitching at a B minus, the hitting at a B plus, fielding at a C minus, and the base running at a B. Just we talked about it too. Bad fundamentals. I think fielding just shot you in the foot so many times. We want
Mhm.
to pick on Dean Curley just because so many of his were glaring, but overall, I think too, there were some plays, guys not catching fly balls,
Yeah.
dropping in, just some bad catching decisions. Part of it, obviously, with the them stealing a lot of bases, but a lot of throws into the outfield, giving up the extra base here, some wild pitch issues, some pass balls. All that adds up, and summing that into fielding, I think it just wasn't good. Needs to be better. We have a lot of players that didn't have defined positions until kind of the end of the season, so hopefully that'll be better this year. The pitching, we had our studs, and then it was kind of the rest of the farm take a pick every given day. Liam Doyle coming in for, or sorry, Dylan Loy coming in for one batter at a time had to be frustrating, I think, for him, and maybe that's part of the reason he wanted to enter the portals to just get more consistency in a role. But have the pitching there and the hitting overall was good. Base running, we just didn't have any burners. Jay Abernathy's the only one who could steal a base and couldn't wasn't really playing near the end of the year. They just didn't really. I thought they were good. That's why I put it a B. They were fine, like nothing spectacular, but not bad either. So I think a B sums up the season. So we all are in the B range, which I think is good. Had I high expectations, obviously we're very excited. They just didn't fully live up to, I think, our just
You know,
overall the ceiling of this team, I should say.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
most people would agree. Like if we had to do like a poll, like not a lot of people are going to call this an A season. Like it's hard to call it an A. But it's really it's not a C season.
No.
46
it's
wins, a super region. No one could give it a
yeah,
C, and maybe the most generous could give it an A minus. So I think we're all right. We're right in the same area of a
Yeah.
B, which is right. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
But we want to hop into some of the guys, talk about some of these guys who are leading specifically. You mentioned Dylan Loy. He's entering the portal. I mean, you make a good point. He probably wants some more consistency. I mean, you like to think I mean, you assume that that's the reason a lot of these guys like to enter the portal. I mean, when you play on a team that, in my opinion, like the bullpen just once again couldn't stay consistent. You didn't know who you could trust. It just seemed like every game, Tony Vitale was just picking someone out, like you said, just taking your pick. Hopefully, he can go out there and do some work. And I mean, like these guys don't have bad ERAs. Dylan Loy 3.97. Banky's probably the worst one up like in front of me here with 5.11 ERA. Austin Breedlove 3.42. Thomas Crabtree 3.0. And these guys aren't bad. It's just they've got the most amount of innings was Dylan Loy with 34 innings over the whole year. So it's just like you said, these guys probably want more consistency.
The
Yeah.
biggest
I
thing
think.
too, kind
No,
of
you go
go
ahead.
ahead, Paul. I was going to say the roster size shrinking, I think, is a lot. And I know we're not going to get into everybody. They have lost a lot of pitching staff. I have in my notes right now, there are only five pitchers from last year that are not either in the portal or eligible to be drafted. So
Yeah.
four rising sophomores, and then Ryan Combs is the fifth one in there as well. So just crazy, but it's just the sport that we're in now. Obviously, the roster size shrinking. They need to get kind of quality over quantity. They know they have a lot of good players in this recruiting class, so want to save enough spots for freshmen. So overall, all these, I think Dylan Loy is the most glaring one. There's a couple other pitchers that you mentioned, Breedlove and Crabtree, that gave innings and gave useful innings, but I don't want to say replaceable because that sounds harsh, but these are guys that I think you have enough talent coming in that you'll have enough to eat these innings. But go
Yeah.
ahead, Paul.
Lloyd's the tough one, and it sounds like he wanted to start. I feel like he could have next year. I guess they couldn't have guaranteed it to him, and that's why he hit the portal. But I mean, his numbers aren't bad. Yeah, 3.97 ERA, a 4.99 FIP's not great, but it's not like he's a 20-year-old, 19, I think 19, like 34 innings, not a huge sample size. So that's a tough one. It sounds like he's going to end up somewhere in the SEC, probably starting. So we'll see how he does. Well, maybe we get him back. We'll see. Just see how the rotation shakes out. Breedlove's another tough one. Pretty good numbers. Again, only 23 innings, but 2.4 FIP, 24 K to walk percentage. I mean, that's a tough one to lose. And yeah, five starters or not starters, five pitchers, period, on the roster right now is pretty nuts. And I mean, there's already plenty of guys coming in the portal. We'll talk about that in a sec. And the freshman classes, there's a couple coming in. It'll be interesting. Cruz Schoolcraft and Cameron Appenzeller are the top two guys coming in, both lefties, both probably draft guys, but there's some rumors we might get one of them. And that'd be
Hmm.
real. Both of those, like Schoolcraft, easy top 20 pick, probably first rounder. Appenzeller's like a first 2 round guy. And if you get either of those guys to campus, that's a weekend starter right there. That'd
Mhm.
be huge. Again, unlikely, but like you don't know. We don't know. And yeah, Banky, Breedlove, Crabtree, Sharp didn't pitch a lot of innings. Yeah, not replaceable, but like you'll get over it. And there's more other than these guys. These are just the guys that pitched any innings at all for
Hmm.
them. The one hitter that saw any plate appearances in the portal is Colby Backus, and 19 plate appearances, struck out 37% of the time. Like
Dang,
these are
doing dirty, Paul.
no,
Come on.
just these are just the numbers. The numbers don't lie. But there's no like Chase Burns in this group. Even Burns wasn't that great when he was with us. You could always see the potential, but like.
Yeah.
I think the additions outweigh the subtractions with this group. And
Shall
Nick,
we get
you want to
into the
talk about?
additions?
Yeah, Nick, you want
Yeah.
to talk about the big one, the big fish?
Yeah, Henry Ford, what a prospect. Went to Baylor High School in Chattanooga. So he's familiar-ish with the area, but I have draft risk highlighted, starred, exclamation pointed, everything. He is the biggest of big draft risks. If that was in the dictionary, it'd be a picture of him. Anything you can go with. Henry Ford, a first baseman outfielder, big guy, probably 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". Was a huge deal to get to commit to the Vols. I think you were talking about it earlier, having some of these guys transfers in, Liam Doyle, Andrew Fisher, years before of just the big transfer. Tennessee's sticking with that. Whether they get him or not, we won't know until draft day, but it is a huge deal, I think, to pick Tennessee. So very happy. But just looking at him as a player, dropped his K percentage by 5% from freshman to sophomore year. His freshman year had 17 home runs, All American. Last year, took a step back, if you want to call it that. The numbers stayed relatively the same. Home runs were down a few, had some injuries, didn't play the whole season, but was second team All ACC. Had 74 appearances at first base and 34 in the outfield. So it's not crazy to say first baseman outfielder. He can play out there. If he were to make it to campus, I think it'd be probably at first for a little, but you could definitely use him in the outfield. We're losing a lot of outfielders, so it's kind of plug and play.
Hmm.
But very excited about Henry Ford. He's going to get paid a lot of money. It's going to be very hard for him to say no to somebody in the draft, but if he could get to Knoxville, that's your 3, 4, wherever you want to play him hitter. Very excited about the even opportunity to have
Yeah.
Henry Ford in Knoxville.
I'll touch on Ford a little more just because I'm kind of the draft guy. But yeah, number one, that's one of my best friend's cousin. So it's pretty cool. I've been kind of following him for a couple of years just because that's like not a family, but you know, cousin
Yeah.
of a friend. And so it's pretty cool. Again, it might be a guy that just gets drafted, never steps foot on campus. And it's kind of like Brady House with the Nats, where you're like, yeah, he was a Vol commit. Like, he never once stepped foot in Knoxville. But like, hey, that's pretty cool. But no, he ended the season on a tear in the ACC. I don't know the exact number, but I mean, like, I think it's like two-thirds of his homers came in just the back half of the season. He was raking. He had kind of a bad start, and he's doing really well now. He's not a bad fielder. Yeah, he might be kind of a corner infield kind of guy. Like, I think he could play third base. We'll see if he's needed there for the Vols, kind of where he could play first, a good first base. Even the corner outfield, I mean, right field in Lindsey Nelson Stadium isn't that big. Like, he's got a good arm. So he's a guy I'm really excited about. And yeah, wait and see. I think the odds of him making it to campus are better than you'd think. There are guys that think there's a chance, but well, that would be. I mean, that's the three-hole hitter right there for the Vols if you can get them. So here's to hoping. But Phil, can you get us another guy?
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of gonna like sum it up real quick. We talked about all those guys who were leaving, all the guys from the bullpen who enter in the portal. But I mean, we've picked up one, two, three, four, five like notable names that could potentially be bullpen guys or starters. So I mean, when you are able to replace the pitchers like that, it's it's a really good sign because there's never like since I've got here in fall of 2023, started watching that the year before that summer. Um, just just being able to always be competitive and always replace is just like the most one of the most fun things about this team is they're able to replace these guys who get drafted or want to transfer with arguably the same talent or better talent. So it's just a matter of like seeing which guys are going to click. I think the hardest part about this like formula for building a team is building a chemistry. But I think that's also part of Tony's game is he's like such I mean, the players rave about him every year, how much they love the guy. They do anything for him. So I think being able to do that, be such a likable coach and being able to at the very least get the players to go all come together to fight for the coach is huge. And I think that given the amount of guys we've gotten just in the bullpen alone, I think we'll be in a good position preseason wise. I think we'll look good preseason.
Yeah. The guy that we just got today, too, we'll touch on him real quick. Blaine Brown, a freshman All-American from Rice, was linked to a bunch of different teams, but chose the Vols today. He's an interesting one, and I wanted to get into it too. He's listed as a two-way. He had a few appearances on the mound last year as a freshman. There's also another two-way player in DJ Newman from Bowling Green, one of two Bowling Green transfers. But with the roster shrinkage, I think we're going to start seeing this a lot more. Guys that can do both. We're not saying they have to be Shohei Ohtani's where they're all-star caliber at both of them. But with a smaller roster, you need guys to pitch in the midweek games, right? So if a position player can give you an inning uh, late in games when you're up a bunch of runs, whatever, that's still an inning that we need to have covered. So I know he has a big arm. He can also play corner outfield. I think that that's where he probably pencils in with Tennessee is bat first corner outfield. But I think Tennessee might try to do something with him on the mound as well. He's a lefty, like I said, big arm, lots of velocity. Got tagged up a decent amount last year. The ERA's ballooned, but it was only over 4 or 5 innings. He did have 12 strikeouts in those 4 1/3, I believe. So he probably has a little potential on the mound. He's only a freshman, so he'll be with Tennessee for, I believe, 2 more years. Blaine Brown just committed today, and I know Tennessee's really excited to have him. But Paul, I don't know if you have anything on him, but do you want to talk about the Bowling Green guys otherwise too?
Yeah, we got two Bowling Green guys here. We got DJ Newman, two-way guy. Only made four starts last year at a 3.77 ERA. Pretty good. The bat is where he sticks out. He had a 170 WRC plus. I don't remember what conference Bowling Green is. So, I mean, it's worse competition. I mean, it's not going to be a 170 in the SEC, but it's definitely going to translate. I mean, the bat is clearly a thing. It's not just a two-way to be a two-way. This is a guy that's good on both sides. And yeah, like you said, roster cuts, like guys need to pitch on Tuesdays. Like someone's got to pitch on Tuesdays. And Tuesday's like an audition. If they really
Yeah.
don't, like if it's another season where we don't really know who's going to be the Sunday guy, like Tuesday is the audition. And Newman, maybe he can show what he's got. Let's hope. Other guys, Garrett Wright, catcher. Another guy, 177 WRC plus. He was
He
walking more than he
raked.
struck out. He got on base more than he got out. Forget walking more than he strikes out. He got on base more than he got out. 513 OP on base. This is a guy that'll step in, take Cannon's job. I don't know if Levi Clark, the catcher, is still a thing. I don't know. Like he came in as a catcher, and he mostly DH for the Vols. He played some outfield, some first, I think. Like I'm gonna guess that Levi Clark isn't gonna catch next year. They're bringing in a
I
guy
don't
like
think
this.
so because they were using Stone Lawless
Yes.
behind the plate
Hmm.
before him anyway. So I
I
don't think they're
wonder,
going to be using
Yeah.
him.
yeah. I wonder if they maybe use Levi to catch on in midweek games. Like you said, it's
Hmm.
kind of an audition. Give the other guys a break and let him catch on Tuesdays, get some experience there. Because I think Levi's bat is gonna kind of get him on the field, and he'll be in the lineup probably every day.
Hmm.
Um, but Garrett Wright's very interesting too because he played at a bunch of different positions. He's listed as a catcher slash utility. He had 2 games at third, 4 in center, 13 in left, and 5 in right, and 36 behind the plate. So is he a guy they want to bounce around a little bit too? Get Stone Lawless in there to catch. Maybe Levi Clark can catch on a weekend too. Garrett Wright, though, defensively was in the top three for Gold Glove, their equivalent for catchers. So you know he's good defensively back there. And yeah, I'll hit 400 and be on base 513, hit 513, whatever. Like, this guy seems like a stud. He'll be a junior next year, so another one that is trying to propel himself a little more stock, a little more money in the draft. But very excited to have both him and DJ Newman, who had injuries the last 2 seasons, so that's why there's smaller sample size, Paul. But this guy was the MAC Freshman Pitcher of the Year in 23, second team All MAC in 24, and last year didn't play a whole lot because of injury. He's an exciting one to watch too. Is draft eligible. Sounds like he's probably going to make it to campus because didn't play a lot last year, but very excited about both of those guys from Bowling Green.
Yeah, I was going to touch on with Clark. I almost wonder if they're playing with Clark is his draft year to have him catch? Like they're
Mm,
almost saving his knees, they're almost saving him. That's what I wonder because the bat is real. He had like a 130 WRC as a true freshman in the SEC. I mean, there's not a lot of 2027 draft boards out there. There's not a lot of geeks like that. But I mean, I think he's probably looks like a first round. Like not
yeah,
many people are doing that. Not many freshmen. So I almost wonder if they're like they'll play him at first this year maybe or DH or whatever and then Wright goes on and gets drafted maybe. Like I
yeah,
wonder if they're like his junior year, that draft year, they're gonna break him out as a catcher, let him do his thing, save his knees for 2 years, show he can catch. I don't know. I might just be making shit up, but like I wonder if because I really don't know where Clark's gonna end up. You know he's gonna be in the lineup, but is he a corner outfielder? Is he at first? It seems like a waste to be DHing him already, but
yeah.
does he play third? Who knows where Levi Clark?
Tony's got a lot of toys to use, and that's why the lineup construction's fun. He doesn't even know what he's all gonna have. There might
Yeah,
be some freshmen that make it to campus. Oh, I'll plug this guy in here, or especially pitching wise. But no, it'll be fun for Tony Vitello. I think this season it'll be another season like this one where he probably doesn't have a set lineup until definitely SEC play, probably halfway through.
yeah.
I also think you pointed out like a bunch. He's got two-way players. You mentioned Garrett Wright playing all over the field, Levi Clark playing all over the field. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sticking guys in new positions every day. I mean, when you have athletes like that, as long as their bats playing, you'll find a spot for them, which I think gives Tony a lot of flexibility to really be able to play the hot hand.
Yeah.
And I think that can really help so just like the length of the season, when you have a guy struggling for a few weeks, like I feel like Bargo was really starting to damper out towards the end of the season. And it's one of those things where you wish you could slot someone else in to kind of like not kill the middle of that order. So having that flexibility, I think, is also going to be important and be fun to watch for Tony to manage.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tap on these other four arms. So start with the big two. The big two, both are good. We got Brady Frederick from ETSU, 2.67 ERA out of the bullpen, 3.66 FIP, a little higher, but still very solid. Big arm, big stuff, 18.7 K to walk ratio or percentage. That's going to be a big arm. That's going to be his Nate Snead or his Tanner Franklin. That's going to be a big arm out of the pen. My favorite, Bo Rudy from Kennesaw State,
Hmm.
3.16 ERA, even better, 2.63 FIP, has a 27.1 strikeout to walk rate or percentage. I think that I don't know if they want to try him as a starter. That's it's so hard to project. Like I have a lineup I kind of projected before I did this. I couldn't even do a rotation because like, can he start? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why is he in the bullpen now if he's this good? I don't know. But those two guys, if they are just going to be bullpen arms, I mean, that's huge. I think that's probably an upgrade over Snead and Franklin. Snead and Franklin had the better stuff. They had the better pitching ninja clips, if they're on 102. Like these guys, these are two guys that are actually going to come and get outs, I think. That's going to be huge.
Yep.
They're two of the top guys in the portal. Both get snagged by the Vols. And the last two, they're both draft eligible this year. Not as much risk as like a Ford, but it's possible they don't make it to camp. We get Clay Edmondson from UNC Asheville. Started 13 games at a 2.2 ERA, 3.43 FIP. That's a guy, if they can get him here, he's probably starting, maybe not Fridays, but he's starting, I bet. Mason Estrada from MIT. He had 10 starts at a 2.21 ERA, 66 strikeouts and 40 and two-thirds innings. Probably also a starter. I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe they get bounced to a Tuesday job. You can only start so many guys. on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I mean, I'm gonna guess maybe we get one of the two. I don't imagine we get both, but I don't know if we don't get like they're not huge names. I forget. I think I've seen Edmondson. I'll say like the fourth round. I haven't even seen Estrada's name on draft like lists. Probably gonna go deeper down, but I mean those would be big gets for the Vols, and then Rudy and Frederick. Those are gonna be weapons out of the pen. So yeah.
Frederick and Edmondson both side armors, so talking about guys with different stuff, still effective and nasty pitches, but very cool. I think Edmondson's the bigger draft risk, as you said.
Mhm.
If he makes it, I'd be surprised. Estrada, D3 guy from MIT that's kind of transferring up, so I think he might want to prove himself a little bit. We probably get him, but I like how you mentioned those Rudy and Frederick first. Frederick, a local guy in Knoxville, so cool for him to come back play for probably his favorite team growing up. And Bo Rudy's been nasty. So like those pitchers. Shall we get into our lineup predictions? I know Paul was really excited about this. I was really excited too. I
Yeah.
think kind of projecting. It's tough though. It was hard because you don't
Oh
know
yeah.
exactly what all he's got. So we're basing it off probably different things. I did one with Henry Ford and one without.
Okay.
Not major switches, but kind of had Henry Ford penciled in. Like I said, he's your three hitter, probably at first base. That's where I see him kind of fitting in the most. I'll run through mine though really quickly. I have Jay Abernathy in center,
Mm.
hitting leadoff, which may be risky,
Okay, you got
but
the
we'll see.
lineup too. Okay, I just have
Yeah,
position
I
there.
put it into a lineup too. Again, I don't know, a little challenging,
I'll do
but
that real quick. I'll do that.
got Garrett Wright hitting second and catching, Henry Ford third at first. I have Blaine Brown in right field as the cleanup guy. I think they're really excited that he chose the Vols. Levi Clark hitting fifth in left. A guy that we didn't get to touch on yet, but a very exciting junior college bat, Tyler Myatt. He's kind of a draft risk too. Had absolute video game numbers in junior college this year. Had 31 homers, hit 484 on 110 RBI. So absolute animal to go along with 20 doubles. So his slugging percentage was over 1,000. I could talk about Tyler Myatt. I think if he makes it to campus too, could be a very big weapon. And then DJ Newman, the DH, hitting seventh. Manny Marin at third. And then Ariel Antigua batting ninth. I think if they don't get another infielder in the portal, he's going to be their shortstop. You hit him ninth. You
Hmm.
can put a premium defender hitting ninth. We have good hitting catchers, so it doesn't have to be that one. But I think this is his year. This is his junior year, his draft year. If you're going to play him, and if he's not transferring, that's a good sign that he probably is going to play or at least get a good shot.
Yeah.
He could be your everyday shortstop, hit him ninth. If the bat can do anything more than it's done these first 2 years, he'll be a solid player. And then the only switch, because I made two, I took Henry Ford out and then have Blake Grimmer at first base. I think they like his bat a lot.
Hmm.
Again, similarly, the portal's still open, so these guys may have the potential to still jump in depending on who makes it back after the draft. But I think they like Grimmer's bat. They gave him a lot of opportunities. Last year as a redshirt freshman, he technically would be draft eligible after this coming season. So I think him at first, lefty, to add one in there could be interesting too.
Okay. Phil, you
Yeah, I
want to
think
go
that
ahead and get a computer charger real quick? Pictures of
yeah, I mean, I didn't I like a lot of what you said, to be honest. I was gonna point out Blake Grimmer as well, just because like I think they liked him a lot this year. He wasn't really starting that many games, obviously, but I mean, he still played in 27 games and he hit 318 with slugging almost 600. So I mean, like the dude would go up there and he would just mash. He in my eyes, he borderline earned himself uh, at least a damn good shot at getting or at starting next year.
Yeah.
I think that the production from his bat was too much to ignore. Um, it may be hard to slot him in. I don't know. I just think that I think his bat at the very least he could be your DH. Um, I think he's definitely going to be in the lineup a lot more this year though. That's for sure. But I
you
mean,
play that kind of that Reese Chapman this role
Yeah,
on the national
Yep.
team, on the natty team. Like you can't really fit him in because you got Dryling and Tiers out there. Like any chance you get to pinch hit or play him
yeah.
on a
No
Tuesday,
one's afraid to pinch hit at all.
He was the first guy off the bench, I think, is a good like
Oh, for
that was
sure.
his role. That was his role last year. So, but yeah.
But yeah,
And what's
Paul,
the
feel like
rest of your lineup? Or Paul, go ahead.
yeah, no, Paul, you can take it away.
yeah, yeah. I hadn't even thought about Myatt, the JUCO guy. I
Hmm.
almost forgot about Grimmer, but and again, I think Grimmer probably, at least for this squad right here, I got is like that like Reese Chapman. Yeah, I got the JUCO guy or not JUCO, Bowling Green guy Garrett Wright at catcher. Yeah, I think Lawless probably backing him up again. That's or Clark, maybe the catcher might not even be a thing anymore. That might just be like me, like I could ask Tony that, and be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like that might not even be a thing anymore, but. Heck, who knows? But I got Clark at first base. We got Manny Marin at second base. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think he's the guy that could break out with the bat. I got Chris Newstrom at third base. He's kind of
Hmm.
just listed as an infielder. He's probably athletic enough to do it. I forget exactly where they put him. I think he played some outfield last year.
Played some left, yeah.
Yeah, I think third base that could be a good. He could transition there. He had a really good small sample size, but he was hitting pretty well when he was out there. Antigua at short, like you said, premium defender. The bat's kind of gross in a bad way so far. I mean, again, just small sample sizes, freshman and sophomore year, but a 32 WRC plus this year. It's not great yet. We'll see. I mean, at worst, I think that's a really good defender at short, which night and day
Yeah,
between having Curly out
Yeah.
there. And
I was
Keelan will
gonna
be
say
fine, but
sacrificing some bat up the middle is not a bad thing either.
yeah.
It really brings some balance to the team and
Mhm.
makes
And
them
yeah, like you
like
said, like the fact that he hasn't transferred out, at least yet, probably means he's going to get playing time, like I imagine. I've got the other transfer, Blaine Brown, out in left field. He'll be out there. I don't know if it's left or right or even DH. I mean, it feels like these guys learn positions on the fly. He might be playing short for all I know. But like, I'm going to go left field with him. Abernathy in center. He's playing a lot of right. I mean, that was kind of Hunter Ensley's center field. So it's hard to like project who can go out there and do it. You said Newman was doing it at Bowling Green. I'll say Abernathy. He just seems like the best athlete of the bunch that could do it the fastest. Yeah, I got Henry Ford out in right field. And yeah, that's probably Grimmer. If Ford's not here, it's probably Grimmer or someone else or Myatt, like you were saying. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, I got the Bowling Green guy, DJ Newman at DH. And I think that's a strong lineup. And it's probably not as strong as this year, but also I wouldn't have we didn't know Andrew Fisher would turn out to be who he is, or Keelan. Keelan was a below average hitter at Louisville. And then came here and had like a 150 WRC. So we'll see. It's a lot of guys that we're going to see about. It's by my count, what, five sophomores right there. So guys that are at least two or three of those guys are probably going to take leaps. One or two might take huge leaps. Like we're just going to have to wait and see. But Phil, you have a full lineup you want to give us, or any just changes you'd make to mine? You think?
I mean, not really. But like I think, like we said, you could. There's a chance you see some guys back. Like like Dean Curley is still. He would be a sophomore or junior.
He'd
He'd
be a
be a junior.
junior. That's
Junior.
really the only
Yeah. So
reason why they could. Like, if he was a junior, any junior, you kind of just got to assume is gone. Like, if they come back, like, they're fried in the draft the next year.
Yep.
Like, Curly,
yeah,
like, as a sophomore, it's still just so unlikely because he's still like a top three pick, which is probably worth it. 3 rounds.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely. It's definitely like it could be a long shot to see someone like that back. But I mean, just like another example of someone who he had such an amazing freshman year, regressed a little bit, especially later in the year this year. But like someone like that, I could see like really averaging out and being a good player in the lineup again. So I mean, I think, and obviously, it's still June, so
Yeah.
you never know. You never know who we could see coming in, starting pitching wise, bullpen wise, lineup wise. Like I'm excited to see how the rest of this offseason pans out before we really start to speculate what kind of. I mean, we could have like six lineups by the
Yeah.
end of the summer with the amount of transfers that Tony brings in. So
It's
I'm
it's also basically impossible to do this until we know the freshman class.
yeah,
Because
true.
I can almost promise you that that first lineup is going to have at least two, maybe three true freshmen in there. And again, we have no idea who that is. And it all depends kind of on the draft. There's guys like Billy Carlson who he's probably a top 10 pick, but
Keep
like
going.
weird stuff happens.
There's
Maybe.
no way he makes it to
You
campus.
never know. You never
No,
If
that's you
if
just
Billy
root
Carlson
for.
makes it to campus, that'd be wild.
Oh yeah, no, it'd
That's
have to
Brady
be
House-esque.
like the Pirates would have to just like offer him like $2 million and be like, "What are you gonna do about it?" It's gotta be something
Yeah.
weird. But Steel Hall also probably gone. Like you can kind of like toss out the top of the class, but then there's guys
Yes.
like Ethan Moore who
Yep.
listed as a shortstop. He's a pretty good athlete, switch hitter. I know a little bit about Trent Grindlinger, catcher. If he makes it to campus, what happens with Wright, that kind of stuff. Like we can't do this completely
Yeah.
yet, but it's fun to do. The pitchers are even harder. Nick, do you want to take a shot at your Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, it's pretty much impossible. I have five names for three
Yeah.
spots because you'd never even know. And I have a guy that's not even committed to Tennessee yet that I penciled in there. Landon Mack from Rutgers is considering a couple of schools, Tennessee, Arkansas, LSU. So it's a toss-up to see who gets him. But he was a freshman last year. I
Mhm.
have him in there. I have Matt Barr, another junior college guy that was a pitcher that is just insane. Probably going to the draft. His value's at an all-time high. We'll see. He's kind of in that fringy spot that you were describing, Paul, of
Mhm.
like guys. And then I have Tegan Coons in there. He's staying. He's going to be one of the three, I think it would have to be. Braden Krenzel's another name that I think they used as a kind of a piggyback long leverage guy, multi-inning reliever. And then DJ Newman, I think, is the most experienced pitcher that we have in terms of starting. I know he's been hurt, but he has been good and has pitched, been a starter for like a full season at one point. So I think he's probably getting innings in there, a chance at there too. But no, it is almost impossible, I think, for
I
pitching
think,
wise. We're an arm short. We're a couple arms short. So
yeah, yeah. There's only five on the whole team. So, no, I do think Coons is like the one I think is a lock. Like he wouldn't still be on camp. Like he would have been in the portal by now if they weren't telling him he's starting because he came in as a top, I think, 50 or so high school
yeah, he's
prospect.
legit.
He pitched, yeah, 30 innings and he wasn't bad. Like that's the one lock. And other than that, you kind of go, you know. Even like Liam Doyle, you wouldn't, Liam Doyle came in with like maybe a 3.4 ERA at Ole Miss. He's the Friday starter. You're like, okay, we'll see what
Yeah.
he's got. He had a lot. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Anything to add, Phil, you think?
Any guys? Any other names?
No, I a point I was thinking out earlier, and you just reminded me of it. I think that bringing in some of these guys, some of these two-way guys, and giving them a chance to play both sides of the ball, I think is could be a little bit of an investment for Tony and the volunteer baseball program. I mean, now that Shohei's shown that it's a possibility to do it in the major leagues, you've seen a couple of guys get drafted or come up through these systems who are at least like testing the waters with
Yeah.
two way. Like, I mean, Caglianone's obviously not doing both in baseball right now, but I mean, he got drafted as a two way. So it's like those guys were still doing both sides. He was doing it at Florida in the College World Series. So, I mean, like, I think this is starting to become a thing and like showing that you're willing to take those guys is the first step. Then being able to make those guys serviceable is the next step. Then those guys get drafted. They make it to the minors. They make their way through the minors to the majors. It's like building blocks here. And it really, like you said, shrinking the roster. Before you know it, you could have three, four, five two-way guys in your team, and they're not just serviceable, they're draft prospects on both sides of the
Yeah.
ball. So I think that it is going to be exciting to see, especially some of these guys like Newman, because it looks like he can really play both sides of the ball. If he can do that for Tennessee this year, I think that's going to be so much fun to watch.
Hmm.
Paul, any closing remarks?
No, I was gonna say you just kind of piggyback off Phil. There's more guys that want to do it than you'd think. Guys
Hmm.
want to play both sides. Guys just want to play baseball. There's a lot
Yeah.
of guys like I was thinking about Nolan McLean, Mets prospect. I think it's
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yeah,
he two-way guy. He doesn't he doesn't still two-way,
I
right?
know.
But he's a
Mm-mm.
really good pitching prospect, really good. Because that's almost insurance for these guys. If you're pretty good at both sides of the ball, like the odds of making it work with one of them is a lot better than just
Yeah.
one
Banking
side.
on one. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's guys that are going to want to do that in college. I mean, I'd have to look more at the freshman class to see who's doing both. I know Billy Carlson was doing both for a while. Again, never touching Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Or no, yeah, Lindsey
Yeah.
Nelson. I was thinking of Nealon. Never stepping foot in there. But when he's great one day, we'll be like, hey, that's a ball right there. But there's guys that want to do that, and they need to now if the rosters are being cut down. Like, guys need to pitch. Teams need arms. And if you can also hit while you're doing it, even better. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm lucky to be joined by two ways in this podcast. You guys are both writers and podcasters, so
Mhm.
helping the baseball media squad. Thank you guys, though, for listening to another episode of the Pipeline Talk podcast. That was a lot of fun. Way early lineup predictions, always fun. As we get closer, though, to July, to the MLB draft, be on the lookout for a lot more content. Follow these guys on Twitter. We are very excited. We're going to continue the Pipeline Talk, bring something new, hopefully, every week until the draft. So, very
Yeah, get
excited.
excited for that draft grade, dude. I'm excited
Very
for that.
excited. Let's go. Drafts coming up, picks are coming up, players are flying different ways in and out of the portal. But we got it all right here at the Pipeline Talk podcast. Thank you guys for listening and join us next time.